Planned Parenthood released its annual report for 2024, showing that the organization performed over 402,000 abortions this past year, presenting itself as a force for hope. The organization report showed that it received just over $792 million from taxpayers. Now, Republicans are teed up in the reconciliation bill to defund organizations that promote abortion. Will that happen? Is this the moment? Here to discuss this, U.S. Senator Steve Daines from Montana. He serves on 4 Senate committees, including the Finance Committee and the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator Daines, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to have you with us.
Good to join you, Tony.
I should also state that you also launched the pro-life caucus in the Senate. So you started that over in the Senate. So let's start with the Planned Parenthood report. Your reaction to the fact that they're setting new records.
Yeah, that was a very sad fact that was reported by Planned Parenthood. It's a record level of abortions. Looking at the report here, over 400,000 abortions, Tony. It's over 1,000 abortions a day provided by Planned Parenthood. So these are just continued troubling stats when you've always had concerns about Planned Parenthood, but they are now crowing about the fact it was a record number of abortions performed through Planned Parenthood last year.
And it's being subsidized by taxpayers. Now, I know the money does not go directly to abortion because of the Hyde Amendment, but as we've talked about many times, money is fungible. It can cover the overhead of this entity. In fact, we've seen they've literally spent millions of dollars in their political pursuits. How can we justify government money going to Planned Parenthood?
Look, if it weren't for the federal taxpayer dollars going to Planned Parenthood, they'd have a hard time surviving. But one of the ways, the back door into Planned Parenthood is through Medicaid reimbursements. So that's one of the primary ways that they make their money there at Planned Parenthood. And that's why we're going to having a battle here on Capitol Hill, that we should be able to defund organizations that use taxpayer dollars for elective abortions. That's exactly what Planned Parenthood is.
You know, I also think we should go further. Now, I know what I'm about to say cannot be included in reconciliation, which the defunding of abortion entities can be. But any organization that gets federal funds should not be able to engage in spending political money. I mean, you should have a choice. I know everybody has a free speech right, but you don't have a free speech right to take government money and use it for your political purposes.
Well, there's certainly, when it starts to think about the Hyde protections, they're already, in my opinion, breaking that federal law. Then on top of that, adding insult to injury is the fact that those dollars can be moved around here for advocacy, certainly for a group like Planned Parenthood. But again, we need to be very clear in our principle as Republicans, pro-life Republicans, that we cannot allow taxpayer dollars to be used for elective abortions.
Right. So
it does.
I'm going to get your sense of how that's going to fare in the Senate. In the House, even there's a few Republicans from blue states who are raising questions about this. The Speaker moving forward with it. It's in the language. How do you think that will fare in the Senate?
Well, look, first, I'm very thankful for the strong pro-life leadership of Speaker Johnson. He is a godsend to our country. There's one leader that can unite and pull that House together with the thinnest of margins. He's got the toughest job every day when he walks into the office. That's Mike Johnson. I'm grateful for his leadership. And I'm glad to see at this moment it's going to be in the House bill. We'll see when they finally end up with the product. They've got to get a vote, certainly on the House floor. The margins are very, very thin, just a handful of votes. And then it'll come over here to the Senate. So let's first and foremost, let's hope and pray it survives the House, Mark. And then we'll live to play the next round here in the Senate. It relates to protecting and preserving those provisions that'll be in the House bill.
And you're gonna herd all those Senate cats and keep them all in line on.
Yeah, we'll do our very best on the Senate cats. Again, the margins on both sides are thin.
Yeah.
Speaker Johnson's got about a 4-seat margin. That's not a lot of room for error. On the Senate side, we can't lose more than 3. If we get 50 Republicans supporting us, then J.D. Vance breaks the tie. We've got it. So that'll be the trick over on the Senate side. The magic numbers are 218 in the House, 50 plus 1 in the Senate.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking both sides. You got about 3 votes to play with. Let me shift gears, Senator. Let's talk about the Middle East. President Trump in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia today, talking about economic deals, that paving kind of the way for peace in the Middle East through economic transactions. Your response?
Well, look, I'm thankful for President Trump's strong leadership. I was in Saudi Arabia 2 weeks ago, had a chance to kind of preview some of the things that are being discussed right now with President Trump and his team. There's going to be some $600 billion of deals done with U.S. companies, with the Saudis. But keep in mind, the Saudis are looking to grow beyond being a regional power. They want to be a global power. And this is a very important ally we have in the Middle East, because obviously the key to unlocking a lot of the challenges we face in Israel would be at some point the normalization of relationship between Israel and Saudi Arabia. That was on its way up until October 7th,
right?
The horrible terror attack when Hamas and frankly Iran disrupted that. But this would be the next place we can go, building on the Abraham Accords success of Trump 45 administration with certainly the current administration. But keep in mind, the first visit President Trump made overseas when he was during his first presidency was to Saudi Arabia. The first state visit for a second administration is to Saudi Arabia. Had it not been for the Pope's passing, it would have been his very first international trip.
We just got about a minute left, and you probably can't unpack all this, but Saudi Arabia, we talk about economic development. You know, one of the things that we've seen, and I was just talking about this with Marlon Stutzman, is religious freedom. There's an abundance of studies that show that if you want economic opportunity, you want security, stability, religious freedom. That's something that's lacking in Saudi Arabia. Has that been a part of the conversation?
Well, it's going to be the important step they will move forward with as they seek to move from regional power to global power. The Crown Prince, the Prime Minister, Mohammed bin Salman, is taking important steps forward here in terms of getting women. You know, they're driving now in Saudi Arabia. They're in the workplace in Saudi Arabia. He's starting to loosen up some of the restrictions they've seen in Saudi Arabia over many, many years. But there'll be another important step, and that'll be religious freedom, certainly, for Christians, as an example, there in Saudi Arabia. Some tremendous Christian archaeology in Saudi Arabia. It would be a great destination for Christian tourism. They open up some of these sites.
All right, Senator, we got to leave it there. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon.